Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden. We're going to do another one of the local and small assortment releases for the month of May 2019, and we're going to head back up to Gothenburg, which, as I've told you many a time, is the craft beer city when it comes to Sweden. There's a hell of a lot of good craft breweries up there, and for this one we're going to go to one that I was only introduced to a couple of weeks ago it was actually, and I was really impressed with the last beer that I had from them. So once again we are going to do a beer with a little bit of a heavy metal connection, and we're having a taste of another beer from Island Brewing. This one is the 1250, which is an IPA coming in at 7.2% ABV. So this one, it said on the website that this was supposed to be a classic IPA, so my interpretation of that would be a West Coast IPA. I've said on the channel for a number of weeks now, or probably longer than that actually, that I've really been missing the big hoppy, more bitter West Coast IPA, so I really hope that this one turns out to be something like that. But regardless, I was really impressed with the last beer that I had from these guys. They seem to be doing some really good stuff and getting a lot of plaudits for it, so long may that continue. But really looking forward to trying this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Island Brewing before. No doubt I will add some more in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Island Brewing then, on to my brewery notes. So Island Brewing was founded back in 2016 by Daniel Svensson, who played drums in Flames until 2015, and he was joined soon after by Peter Ehlers, who was the bassist in the band until 2016. So Daniel mainly works on the brewing side of things while Peter deals with the sales, and he also has a restaurant called 2112 in Gothenburg, and it's supposed to be really good actually. A lot of the Island beers do premiere there, and they do seem to have a good range of different craft beers as well. That's another place that I need to check out when I finally get a slightly longer visit to Gothenburg. But the brewery was originally founded in Fjärås near Kungsbacka, which is a little bit to the south of Gothenburg, and their first beer entered Systembolaget back in 2016, and they started off with a very small 500 litre brewery, but quite recently they've moved to Lindome, which has a brewery with a 2,000 litre system in it, and this will give them a maximum brewing capacity of 340,000 litres of beer per year, and they'll also have some space to actually do some sour beers as well, and they also hope to open up a small bar in the brewery over the next little while as well. So an exciting time of expansion for Island Brewing. Like I say, they are getting a lot of plaudits for their IPAs and things like that at the moment, and it will be cool to see them diversify a little bit over the coming months and years actually. So yeah, there's another brewery that seems to be doing very well for itself actually. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery itself. Quite cool to have another brewery out here with a connection to heavy metal. Of course, I'm quite into that myself, and it's always good to listen to a little bit of Gothenburg melodic death metal, right enough, if that's the right genre for In Flames. But I do quite like In Flames, I have to say. But so check them out, check out the brewery website in the description below, and as always you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, and that'll keep you up to date with all the latest goings on at the brewery. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. We can get rid of the brewery notes. So yeah, as you can see, this one's poured, or this one, the artwork on this one is really nice. I've not poured the beer yet, brain's not working this evening, but yeah, you can see this artwork is quite similar in style to the other ones that you'll find from Island Brewing. The Island Brewing symbol is this kind of upside down hop cone. I'm not sure if that's meant to be symbolic, because you know metal bands do like to turn Christian crosses upside down. I'm not sure if that's the idea that's gone into this one. Could be one interpretation of it, but you can see this little symbol up here. I do like that, the hop cone with the drumsticks on it as well. But yeah, really nicely presented beer, this one. It says on the side here, our lives as musicians have taken us around the globe a few laps, and we tried a beer or two on the way. This is our version of what a good quality beer should taste like, a beer for everyone. And you can see Daniel and Peter's signatures on the side there. Yeah, very nice. I do like this that they've got the little Swedish flag on there. I think it's quite cool to say product of Sweden, product Produkt of Sverige. So yeah, nicely presented beer. This one, best before the 3rd of April 2010. Wait, no, I must be right. Or, yeah, the 3rd of April 2020. That's why. Yeah, I was going to say would be leaving it a little bit late, but yeah, to be honest, with an IPA, you don't want to leave it a year before you drink it. Try and drink them as fresh as possible if it's a West Coast IPA. If it's a New England IPA, let it settle for a little bit. You know, because with the New England IPAs, they can be a little bit overly green in the beginning. So yeah, in terms of appearance then, quite hard to say. This one does look a little bit more. Obviously it does have a little bit of that haze to it, but at the same time it does actually have a little bit more transparency to it, like you would expect from a West Coast IPA. I have seen West Coast IPAs looking like this before, but this one's definitely a little bit more hazy than I have seen from a couple of them. But yeah, as you can see with this beer, nice half finger of a frothy, I would say perfect white head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of the head there, which looks very, very nice. If I put my fingers behind the glass there, you can see that's the level of haze you're getting on this one. It is possible like that for a West Coast IPA, but yeah, it looks really quite nice. And I'm going to take a guess at this already. I think just from the aromas that are coming out of this, I think there might be Citra and Mosaic in here. I've got a feeling it might be. Yeah. Could there be a little bit of Galaxy? I don't know. It could. I mean, this is an interesting one. When you don't know the hops in a beer, I always like playing guess the hops with them. It's always a good game to play. Based on the aromas as I was taking it out of the can, I got a real feeling that there was Citra. There's definitely a bit of mango in this one. It may well have been Galaxy or Simcoe right enough, because there was a little bit of passion fruit in there, and there's something in my head that makes me want to say Simcoe, just because of the almost creamy nature of the passion fruit that's there. Galaxy has a little bit more of a kind of sharpness to the grapefruit, to the passion fruit aromas rather, and has a little bit more complexity to it, but this Simcoe is very distinctive in the aroma for me. But yeah, straight away with the aroma, I'm thinking West Coast IPA with this one. This one definitely has more of a kind of sweeter, malty backbone to it. So yeah, but at the same time there's a little bit of a bready quality to it. It's got a bit of a biscuity, very slightly caramel note to it, which is interesting. There is a bit of a grainy aspect to this one as well, I would say. But yeah, definitely white bready notes, a bit of a biscuity sweetness. It reminds me of McVitie's Digestives, of course. Yeah, definitely a little bit of a McVitie's Digestive kind of thing with this one. And a slightly sweeter caramel, maybe even a little touch toasted actually, to be honest with you. A little bit of a slightly toasty brown sugar. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things, it kind of is pretty much what you'd expect. On the green side of the hops, you get a little touch of earthiness in there, but quite a sweet earthiness, and that makes me think that there is a bit of Mosaic in here. I did get the smell of a kind of tangerine orange as I opened this one up, so I do wonder if there's a bit of Mosaic in here. But at the same time, they did say it's a classic IPA, and Mosaic really has only kicked off in the last sort of 3 years or something, so is that old enough to be considered classic these days? Who knows. But yeah, on the fruity side of things, like I said, we should stick to the green side of the hops. It's got a nice kind of quite smooth floral character to it, nice bit of a lighter grassiness in there as well, but also some kind of juicy fruity notes as well. There's definitely for me a little bit of a smooth mango-y passion fruit note to this one, some tangerine oranges, maybe, yeah, it's to me it's passion fruit, it's mangoes, maybe a little bit of papaya or something like that in here. I want to say, I do think that there's something in my head that's just wanting to say Simcoe with this one, and I know that this brewery are a bit of a fan of Simcoe, and I don't blame them for that, but I want to say maybe Simcoe, Mosaic, possibly Citra in this one, because yeah, the fruity side of the beer does have a good little bit of of complexity to it. As I say, I'm getting a little touch of mango in there, a little bit of passion fruit, a little bit of a kind of tangerine orange. There's a little bit of a kind of lychee note, as I say, some kind of papayas and things like that too. As I say, I always like playing guess the hops with these with IPAs when you don't know what's in them. It's always an interesting exercise, and the more IPAs you try, and the more single hop IPAs you try in particular, you know more, the more you'll learn about these hops. But it smells really nice, pretty much what you would expect from an IPA. I'm suspecting that this one could well be a West Coast IPA, and if it is, I'm really excited for it. But let's have a taste of this one and just see how we get on then. This one is the 1250, an IPA coming in at 7.2% from Island Brewing over in, or up in Gothenburg rather, here in Sweden. Let's get stuck into this one. Slange, skål. Yeah. That's interesting, that. It's quite rounded, this one. This one's more of one of the beers where it's not quite as bold as I was thinking it was going to be, and punchy. This is actually, it's a little bit heavier in its alcohol, but it actually, to me, if I blind tasted this, I'd be more inclined to say that it's a session IPA rather than a kind of full-on IPA. In terms of its bitterness and things like that, it is a little bit heavier than a New England IPA, right enough, but at the same time it kind of retains the sort of smoother mouthfeel. It's an interesting one, this. It's good, I like it, but it does give you if you're analysing it, you know, it really does give you a couple of things to think about. But this is a good beer. It's yet another good IPA from Odd Island, so well done to them for that. Yeah. That's nice. I think it does have a little bit more bitterness than your kind of standard New England IPA, and I like that about it. You know, as I said, I have been missing the West Coast bitterness in recent times, actually, but this one, it almost becomes a little bit spicy on the side of your tongue too. So yeah, it's good how this goes together. But let's try and break down the flavour a little bit then. So middle of your palate with this one, you're going to feel a nice smooth kind of bready quality there, just blanket the middle of your tongue. The further you go into the aftertaste, the more it dries out and becomes a little bit grainy actually. But in the middle of your palate, you do have a nice kind of biscuity sweetness to this one. It reminds me a little bit, it's almost a little bit like a kind of ice cream cone that has caramel sauce kind of on the outside of it. It's a little bit like that, middle of your palate, and almost a little bit like a kind of McVitie's digestive, to be honest. It has a little bit of that kind of quality to it. But yeah, once your mouth starts to adjust to this beer a little bit more, it really does start to become a very kind of well-rounded and quite oily beer, this one. I wonder if from the flavour that they've got in here, could they be using a little bit of Columbus or something as the as the backbone of the beer? It could even be a little bit of Chinook, actually, because the floral aromaticity is almost resinous in this beer. I think it's something in my head wants to make me think that they're using Chinook in this one. Just because of the way the sort of floral aromaticity comes out of this beer. The only other hops I can think of, you might get a little bit of that from Cascade if you use it early in the boil. Pardon me. But you could also get it from Columbus, right enough. Columbus is quite a standard bittering hop over in America, so it's interesting to think about. To me, this beer does come across as more of a West Coast IPA. It's got a really nice big oily but still quite smooth mouthfeel actually. It is almost a little bit like a kind of, it has a little bit of that kind of hybrid quality. It's got a little bit of the New England smoothness to it, but it's got the nice big West Coast oiliness actually. But yeah, I like what they've done with this one. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this beer again. As I say, the thing that's a bit sort of throwing me off with this beer a little bit is it does come across, as I blind tasted this beer, I would think it was a session IPA, like a lower alcohol one, where it's 7.2%. It is a fairly kind of standard West Coast alcohol content actually. It is a little bit of a heavier IPA, this one, in fairness. But as I say, I do like how it goes together. If you go into the very middle of your palate, you get a nice sort of slightly toasty, sweet caramel note to this one. It's a little bit of a It does have a little bit of that kind of biscuity note to it as well, which is really nice. Yeah. And the more and more you drink of it, the more that the sort of caramelly backbone of this beer comes out. This is a nice West Coast IPA. I would say it's one that does take your mouth a little bit of time to adjust to, in fairness. But once you really have a good couple of sips of this, it really does become very, very nice. It's good, so yeah, big thumbs up to Odd Island Brewing for this one. The way that they've put the malt base together in this is really quite nice, actually. On the hoppy side of things then, as I said, back corners of the palate, you've got a little bit of earthiness in there. I do suspect there's a bit of mosaic in here. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, you get a nice, almost resinous floral aromaticity, slightly spicy floral aromaticity, to be honest with you. I reckon they might have used Columbus in here as a bittering hop for this one. It could even be Chinook. I've got a feeling it may well be Chinook, actually, just because of the way that the just because of how resinous it is. But either Chinook or Columbus, I can't quite, you know, there's not too many brewers using these anymore. If I'd reviewed this beer about a year ago, I'd be able to tell you exactly which one it is, but I'm pretty sure they've used one of those two hops in the as the main bittering hop for this. But as you go round the very front curve of the palate, it becomes a little bit lighter and grassy, but you can feel still a little touch of that orangey note to this coming out. Yeah. But behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where you get that nice oily bubble, where the juicy fruity esters start to come out of the beer. And this one's really quite nice, actually. It's got a lot of different things kind of going on in it. I do think that I've got a feeling there could be a little touch of Simcoe in here. There is, if you go towards the back of the palate, you get a nice kind of grapefruity note, and that's making me wonder if it is indeed Chinook that they've used as the base in this hop. But as you come further forward from it, there could be a little bit of a mango kind of passion fruity thing in there, and there could be Citra right enough in this beer, just from the way that some of the complexities in this beer are going together. I think they've maybe used 3 or so hops in this one, but I do suspect maybe Columbus or Chinook as the main bittering hop. I think there's a bit of Citra in here. I'm pretty sure there's Simcoe, and I think there might be Mosaic in this one too, because when you come towards the very front of the palate, you've got a nice complexity to the fruity notes. So if you go to the very back of that oily bubble, there's grapefruit, then it becomes more of a passion fruity note, and then a lighter mango. But you've also got some nice, you have some really nice kind of tangerine orangey notes to this one too. And then if you go to the very front tip of the palate, it's almost like there's a little bit of a slightly blueberryish note, but you've got some lychee and almost some kind of gooseberry qualities to this one as well, which to me would indicate there's a bit of Citra in here. As I say, I just like playing guest hops with these beers, but the main point to take away is that this is a really nice West Coast IPA. It takes your mouth a little bit of time to adjust to it, to be honest. That could well be because, you know, my palate's a bit more adjusted to drinking the New England IPAs, because that's what everyone's making these days. But I have missed these more West Coasty bitter IPAs, and they've done a nice job of this. As I say, take a few sips of this. The 330ml can, I think that's maybe a little bit small. This one really should be one of the sort of 440 cans or whatever it is they're doing now. This one should be in a can that's a little bit bigger in my mind, and they should charge a little bit more for that, obviously. But yeah, you do need a slightly bigger than 330ml can for this one, I think. That's maybe my one complaint about Odd Island. I think they need to do the slightly bigger cans for their beers. But yeah, this is a really nice, more West Coasty IPA, but it does retain a little bit of that New England kind of smoothness to it, in fairness. So let's focus a little bit on the mouthfeel then. As I say, overall I'd say this beer is fairly mid-bodied, moving towards the top end of mid-bodied actually. Carbonation's very smooth, it's a big oily mouthfeel this one, but a little bit of that underlying smoothness, which is kind of most commonly associated with the New England IPAs these days. You've also got a nice kind of hoppy bitterness to this one. I would reckon around maybe 50 IBUs in this beer, to be honest with you, somewhere in that kind of region. But yeah, malt base has a really good balance, the smoothness underneath and a little bit of the sweetness on top, that nice sweet West Coast backbone to the beer, some caramelly notes, a little bit of a biscuity note as well, nice little bit of hoppy bitterness, as I say, about 50 IBUs, nice bit of resinous quality in there as well, and some lovely juicy fruity qualities also. But yeah, it has everything you'd want from an IPA. It does take your palate a little bit of time to adjust to this one, but it's a really pretty damn good beer actually. Really well rounded and well balanced one, this. I think it's maybe fair to say that the last one I had from these guys was a little bit more bold and kind of pushing it a little bit. This one's a nice more kind of rounded malty IPA, but as you know, if you've watched the channel, I do like my beers to have a good malty backbone actually, and so this one for me really does hit the spot. I do like the orangey notes in my IPAs too, so again, this is one that hits the spot. But yeah, big thumbs up to Odd Island Brewing for this one. They've pulled off yet another really good IPA, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. It's dangerously drinkable though, at 7.2%. You know, it is up there when it comes to the IPA alcohol contents these days, but it's a bit dangerously drinkable. Just be a bit careful with this because it is really nice, and you could easily kind of slam a few of these down easily. Definitely, so yeah, just be a bit careful with this beer. But overall, as I say, really nice beer, and I'm glad that I was able to review this one for you, so I hope you guys have enjoyed my take on it. Let's leave it at that. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Odd Island Brewing as well, and I'm sure I'll return to these guys in the near future. I do need to listen to In Flames a little bit more. I know a couple of their songs and things, but on the basis of this beer, I will need to have a little bit more of a listen to it. But this one was the 1250 from Odd Island Brewing, just outside of Gothenburg on the west coast of Sweden. Until the next time, it's Slander just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Skål.